Pursuing a master's degree in education has been dramatically different than pursuing a bachelor's degree in education. As an undergraduate student, I was very concerned with learning content so that I could be an expert in my field and really know my stuff. Now, as an experienced teacher, I am choosing to pursue further study in education rather than literature or writing, because I find that what makes me a good teacher is not so much how well I can analyze Faulkner, but how well I relate to and communicate with my students. The primary disposition that makes me a successful teacher is my ability to be genuinely warm and caring with my students. In my classroom, I am intentional about greeting my students daily and learning their names right away. I teach at an alternative high school with quite a bit of transition and new classes every 9 weeks, so I frequently have new names to learn. However, I make it a point to get spellings and preferred nicknames down and have a classroom rule to keep me accountable. If I call a student by the wrong name, that student gets a piece of candy. It's a little way I can let my students know that I value who they are and care about how they want to be addressed. Similarly, another disposition that helps me be an effective teacher is my sensitivity to my students' learning and social needs. I love teaching in an alternative high school because it provides me with a setting where I can get to know my students better with smaller class sizes and a smaller school where I'm the only English teacher for all 4 years. This gives my team and I the ability to really know our students well and have the flexibility to address their needs individually. Although our community is about 75% Caucasian, our school is about 75% Native American, with many of those students coming from neighboring reservations. To provide a learning environment where my students feel safe, respected, and heard is crucial to having any success as a teacher. Frankly, I try to treat those cultural differences humbly and tend to ask a lot of questions. Because of my softer approach, my students usually extend grace if I make a cultural faux pas, because they know I care about them and have blundered out of ignorance rather than malice. In order to grow as an educator, one disposition I would like to work on is my level of community involvement and servant leadership. In a small town, this disposition is critical. Since I have lived in my community for 17 years, have taught at elementary and middle school levels, and have children the ages of my students, I know a number of my pupils before they ever enter my classroom. If I have a student that knows me from church, from summer baseball, or because I subbed for them in middle school, I find that they already trust me, respect me, and will work harder for me. When my students see that I am involved in our community and am investing in others, it gives credibility to what I say in the classroom and helps me model integrity to my students when they see and know me in multiple settings. An educator should be a caring individual, a person of integrity, and a professional who genuinely wants to help others. Educators should model what it means to be a good citizen and neighbor, as well as a lifelong learner and team player. In short, we should be examples of what we are asking our students to do and how we are asking our students to behave. When we live and work with compassion and integrity, it is evident to our students and encourages them to meet our expectations because they know we are working towards them too. In striving to be exemplary, a standard I find helpful is the golden rule, and I try to treat others how I would want to be treated. As an educator, I extend that to teach others how I would want my children to be taught. In particular, this principle guides my interactions with parents when I contemplate how I would want to be contacted and when. However, it is also helpful when I am doing everyday tasks, like constructing feedback or dealing with a student in crisis. When that golden rule standard is guiding my decisions, I know that even though I will never be a perfect teacher, I'll be an educator that I can be proud of.